happen.
Okay, if I get everyone's attention, I'd like to make a motion to open up the August 7th meeting of the bar. I have 5:32 p.m. is our start time. Okay, the first applicant can please approach. Tuxedo M&M Holdings.
Was there a second and a vote on the motion?
A second.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye, aye.
Aye. Any opposed? I'm sorry, I'm chair of another board.
It's
I'm like,
okay.
that's what I'm used to.
You-
All right.
You opposing?
No, I have to cook dinner after this.
There's no opposition on this side of the
I've
table.
Wonderful, thank
He's
you.
been demoted for just this purpose. We're a team player, so I want to thank you all. I'm Margie Sung. I haven't been to one of these meetings, so I just want to introduce myself.
Welcome.
Hey, and you probably know the rest of our team. Todd Ernst, our architect, my husband, Mike Schmidberger, and then Andrea Buckingham is our fabulous landscape artist. I'm sure architect, you're all familiar with her work. And then Jeff, who's going to make this happen like by Christmas, right? So Jeff, Christmas, right?
Love a good
You
deadline.
promised me Christmas.
Didn't say which year.
I know. He didn't give me a year. So,
Jeff Gunderman.
Jeff Gunderman, thank you, Jeff. So we have a few revisions, all hopefully, I think are improvements, and some are just thinking about how we use the house and stuff like that, and things we don't need. So I'll leave it to Todd to take us all through it then.
And thanks for meeting with us tonight. Really appreciate it. And we're off to a really good start with Jeff and his team. And so in sort of initiating the process and getting more into the design, we're kind of refining a few things with Mike and Margie. And there's a summary of those revisions on the cover sheet, just to kind of get right to the point. And it's nothing major. And probably the most important element is the front staircase. And before it was a three-sided stair, which was, after we all talked about it and kind of visualized it, we realized it was overkill. Like it seemed almost kind of like a commercial or institutional stair. And this stair is simplified. It has these curving clad cheek walls that I think are more graceful, and it gives landscaping more opportunity to basically soften the foundation of the house. Because, you know, the stone is great, but it's nice to have it mixed with organic presentation at the front entrance. So again, it's kind of like a less is more sort of thing. So that's the main item that we're looking at tonight. Very minor between the house and the garage. We added a window to a bathroom. And again, it's very minor. It's not really going to be visible from the front facade or at all from the street. So that's the second page. And then on the other side of the house, we had this kind of void or leftover space under the side access stair that comes up from the pool deck. And we realized we needed some place to store pool equipment. And so it wasn't like on the pool deck or hard to get to. So we're adding this kind of very traditional for access to storage under the stair. And I think there was one more thing. Summary. Oh, the chimney. We removed one of the chimneys on the northeast corner. It would be 2A. So that kind of simplifies the that north elevation as well. So we deleted that. And it's really, again, the thing that's foremost is the staircase.
Okay. So let's start with that.
Sure.
I think the staircase would be an excellent change. I love the curve. I think it's very in keeping with the style of Tuxedo Park. Are there any other thoughts, concerns?
I have a question. Are these columns getting quite a bit fatter there? Or is it just the design? Because I thought it was more elegant in the beginning than these. They look very chunky.
That's a good question. I think that
We did not
we had not intended to change.
No, I
them.
think that might be a
Just
printing
make it
issue.
printing.
I'll check with my drafting team on
Yeah,
that.
I would
Very-
keep them slim.
Yes,
Agreed.
and
There was
then-
no-
That these columns are a big improvement over the others in terms
Right.
of material. and
Yeah.
yeah,
design.
Is this the visual of the
They're very simple,
material? So
husky.
thinking like
yeah. At one point, we had like square columns that were
Yeah.
panelized,
Yeah.
and
Rob, it was your,
we're going more for that,
I
like a
think
Doric
these are
kind of column.
handsome, But I take the point.
I can check that though.
Yeah, the other thing to just.
We didn't change
Yeah,
anything,
we
so I
didn't
think
change
it's
the
the
spec.
way,
It's a drafting error, I think.
I'm gonna blame AI for it. And they overheard us saying something and it changed something. That's what I'm
the
gonna
the
say.
spec, the architectural spec.
Can I ask whether this-
Came in last
I always thought this was gonna be a straight, but is this actually gonna be curved or was it?
Oh, no, that's straight.
that's straight at the top.
It's not curved?
It's not matching the steps.
Because it appears curved in the rendering and I would possibly be against curve.
No, it's straight. It should be
It's just,
straight.
it's another, it's AI again.
Yeah, it should be straight.
Right.
It's good to have someone.
I think
to-
that rendering is actually a little outdated. I'm sorry
Right,
about
because
that.
this looks like a curved thing and I would
No, it's
probably
straight.
recommend not, oh, okay, that's much chicer.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't know why the diameter changed. It's,
Okay.
the only change is really from the
Okay.
base of the columns
And
down.
also nothing, no change to the roof, that's just
No,
natural.
no.
Yeah, okay.
Again, so it must be some kind of printing issue or something, because even the doors look darker on one. than-
Mhm.
I see that.
So I apologize for that.
So the steps are concave now, before they were rectangular.
Yes.
So obviously, we'll give you our comments tonight, but we can't vote on it because we don't have all the specs, right? That's correct. You'll come, once we agree with something, you'll,
That we agreed on this.
The spec didn't change. That's what-
Yeah, okay.
It's all the same
It's just-
materials.
Yeah.
But the spec also, the size of the column did not change.
Okay.
Yeah.
From the last.
What I can do is
We
I
don't need
can,
a
I
change
can
to the
get
column.
John corrected.
right, yes, it's just so we have something on file,
Yes,
exactly what we
100%.
agreed. Yeah,
No,
no,
I
so we agreed
apologize
on that,
for
yeah. And then, no, I
I
mean.
didn't even look at it because
We
it
have the
wasn't,
rendering as well, showing the intent. We could just do correct ones on that. I think
Sure.
again,
sure.
not a huge issue. Can I give some, a question rather? Did choice in arching the windows next to the door, was that to pick up on the entryway?
Yeah,
Could I make a suggestion?
sure.
Would you consider squaring them off to match the rest of the windows on the house? They just feel somewhat out of place since the rest are beautiful and square and I think that it would still.
I would definitely consider it. I'd want to draw it for Mike and Margie and show it to them.
I think it might be helpful.
Sure.
I think it's an interesting point because my thought finishing on in the steps is that I prefer the more severe Schinkel architectness of it, which is why I wasn't so happy about the door. There was too Beaux-Art, a different style, but the staircase is Beaux-Art, so it's making the door link in happier. And so those arched windows, I think in that feeling, in that Beaux-Art feeling sort of work okay there.
I agree. I think you need to kind of figure out which way you're going. If you're going all shingle, then absolutely square it off.
Mhm.
If you're holding to this whole presentation as it is here, then I think they actually nicely echo the central door.
I think it's something, the punch windows is something we could study and see how it hangs together with the entry sequence. It's definitely worth, looking at. And, ultimately I have to get my client to sign off on it.
Yeah, I want to think about it. I spent some time on that and
Mhm.
like a little bit of softening there from the
Right.
arch and not quite as severe.
Mhm.
But it's funny,
Severe enough.
have you seen the film Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris?
I've read the book, but I haven't read the film.
Well, this is like Mr. Schinkel goes to Paris. So he goes and he has a very happy time. So he comes back and modifies it, but it works all together. I mean, it's a juxtaposition. So it's
I just wanted to say, we did approve the facade, so we're actually today only discussing the change to the
Staircase.
handrail.
Yeah. I think the curved rail is beautiful. I really like it. I think it softens, like you said, with landscaping. I think that it's a very regal entry to the house. I really like it. Even though these renderings are dated, they're very helpful.
Removal of north.
The window and the
The chimney.
Mhm.
Mhm.
That would be on the same page.
Yep. So page 3. Window kind of adds a little bit of symmetry. I don't see any issue. It's in keeping with the style of the rest of the house. The other side has 3.
I like the symmetry aspect too.
Yeah.
What was the interior need to remove the
Oh,
chimney
so
in that
the
space?
chimney was in Mike's office when I decided it would be better for him to shred his documents, not burn them. It'd be better for everyone, and then I could piece things together when he got
Keep
indicted.
his carbon footprint
Yeah,
lower.
so that's really what it was all about.
Yeah, so it negated the requirement of the chimney. Also helps their budget a little bit.
Anything that helps my budget is fabulous right now.
Yes.
And the room with the fireplace is right next door, so you can just mosey on over.
Yeah,
and
that's
then
enough
kind of sit in front of the
fireplaces.
fireplace.
Was there a structural issue that required removal, or is it?
No. No, just the lack of, we didn't need 2 fireplaces 10 feet from each other. It
Right.
didn't really make
It's a
sense.
design thing and just to give Mike more wall space.
Would there be a way to achieve both goals in deleting the fireplace on interior while preserving the exterior and having the 2 chimneys?
The original fireplace structure was in a different place on the building. There is no fireplace there.
Hmm.
There's no.
So this was an
structure.
So there's no
addition.
It was an
existing
Yeah.
chimney.
addition, yeah.
Yeah, it's an addition that we're
Okay.
removing.
Okay.
Yeah, I have no problem with the removing of the.
And the other thing is it's kind of shielded by the garage structure, so you don't really even see it.
Notice, that's fine.
Yeah, there is a whole load of stuff here that.
That's not reflected.
Yeah, I
you
didn't
don't
give you
see
the
it on these
site plan.
plans. Yeah, so
Sorry
there's a
about that.
garage and everything, so this.
No problem. This
view.
predates my time here, so
Right.
learning as we go. Thank you for
Yeah.
your patience. Oh, I see.
Yeah, so
Okay.
it's not
So that'd be
so,
right there.
yeah,
Symmetry,
doesn't
though,
stick
that's
out as.
Yeah,
fine.
it's just kind of
My concern with the
balances
symmetry is
the
that
elevation a little
having
bit more.
Yeah, it was asymmetric too, which
Okay.
you weren't here, but nobody liked the asymmetric and we justified it because it was in my office.
I remember that.
Justification removed.
I have one question, and I don't know whether this is new or if it's something that we approved before. But on page 5 of 5, you look, it appears in 2 different images. Got a band of gutter cutting right across it, which, do you see that?
See it?
Oh, right here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that just another rendering issue, or I see what you're talking about?
Yeah, that's
Because I-
actually,
Ideally, you'd have 2 downspouts going on either side
Yeah,
or,
yeah.
or somehow split the difference or have. It just
yeah, I
is an
think that might
awkward
be just
detail.
A rendering issue.
Okay,
The chimney should be kind of like a proud element.
unfettered by the,
Yeah.
the gutter, okay.
I'll have that, we'll fix it.
Okay.
So then the addition of the door, that's on the south exterior elevation. I think again, nice symmetry
Mhm.
with the door on the other side of the chimney and the door on the, corresponding end here. I think it looks great and a good way to hide pool equipment.
Yeah.
Love
You'll
it.
see, Ryan, on page 5, the bottom corner, you'll see that the pool also. Yeah, you won't really see the door from outside because all the stuff around the pool with the pergola and all the trees and plantings will block it anyway.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I agree. Sense of symmetry. It's a functional use, the same materials as the other doors.
Yeah.
I see no
Just
issue.
turn that off, I'm sorry.
No worries. Okay, so I think as long as we can get updated elevations showing accurate details
I'll
that.
get that to you right away.
Okay.
I apologize for the drafting issues.
Okay, so I'd like to make a motion to pass these pending John's receival of the updated elevations.
Second,
Just
Oh, for the project, for architects, Ernest Architect P LLC for 36 East Lake Road, and revised 7/8/23.
Second.
aye.
All in favor?
No,
All in
all in favor, thank you.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it.
Thanks so much,
Thank you so
Gordon.
much.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Exciting.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
Have you been past?
yeah, I went, I drove.
Be careful going inside.
I didn't, no, I
Please
didn't
be
go, yeah,
careful.
no.
Heavy artillery.
I just-
There's ditches.
I don't blame you. She's very
I love a good
persuasive.
construction site.
I didn't want to, I
Oh,
didn't want to lay
right.
the lawyer stuff, but I'm just like.
I love it
Yeah,
all.
people behind us.
Thanks. Thanks again.
Thank you. You as well.
Bye.
Okay. Okay, if our second applicant,
The Zoom meeting, those are the plans that he, or the letters that he submitted.
just glance on, I over this, it's just the driveway gravel. and we're
Mhm.
doing
I feel his pain.
gutters. And then you can see where it came back in the old drainage just there, redirecting it behind and still keeping 200 property line. I think this is pretty straightforward.
Mr. Thompson, can you hear us?
I can, and you me?
Yes.
Good evening,
yes.
Thank you, good evening.
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 Okay,
Ask you a question. First of all, why do you want to do this? Did you have some issues with drainage and things?
Yeah, it's primarily drainage, just, stormwater, and we all saw that a little bit in excess in the last month, but this was in the works for the last few months. The second is aesthetic, right? To give a little bit more of a border to a gravel driveway, which every season sort of ebbs and flows in its width. And so, my idea would be 2 birds, 1 stone. And by having this border, then it can, give a little bit more of a neatness. I can grow grass up to the edge and it just is a little bit more appealing. So those are the 2 primary and secondary reasons.
The important word you said was the gravel. You're retaining the gravel because on the plan it looked as if it was tarmac. It's gravel. You're keeping the gravel.
Yeah, that's right. And just, for 10 seconds, I looked at a few other options, and obviously the gravel has some negative, but it does give a little bit more of a country feel. I put mud flaps on my car and just am going to deal with it. But I think if I keep to gravel, which is my objective, then I do need something that retains it aesthetically. And so again, I think what I've selected, a few different people gave me guidance, but sort of looking around the park and trying to go with the Riverstone that also, in at least my opinion, sort of keeps it to some of the original concepts of what would have been here back in the day. So that's how I landed on this combination of Riverstone as far as the swales, and then retain the existing gravel, but fortify that. So we'll keep it the same color as it is, but sort of pack it in, re-level the driveway as time has gone, it's shifted, get to a more narrow, so it's aligning, to the width, and then I can have sort of nice boundary with greenery.
Will it be if there's a car coming out and a car coming in, would they be able to pass, or is it just a one?
That's an excellent question. The width is 14 feet. So I think that's the widest one can do, and that's sort of a widest conforming. So if 2 cars can fit on 14 feet, then you've got your answer.
Okay.
okay.
Could I ask a question, please? How wide is it currently?
So it's anywhere from, we measured a few spots because the gravel has expanded over time. I think I get to 17 or 18 feet. So we'll claw that back in. And I think the most narrow spot is at the front, which, about 1/3 of the way down, and it gets to about 12 feet. So the idea is that we would standardize that.
It's the reason I'm asking is just, are you taking down trees for this, or
No, not at all.
no?
There's no impact to trees.
Because to me, this picture is like heaven, personally speaking. The before, but the second picture that you showed is just so beautiful.
And that will stay its width. If anything, some of
Yeah.
those widths are in that picture that you're referencing a little wider than 14 feet. So I think having it a little bit trimmed, and as you can see in the picture that you've referenced, the grass struggles a little bit as you go down into the middle And so I'm also doing irrigation. Again, I think in the future, not only will it give that definition, but I'll be able to then have a more crisp border that I can keep green, but no trees or animals are going to be harmed in this process.
Thank you, thank you.
I mean, I think it's definitely in keeping with style, the style of the park. Most of the driveways that I've encountered that are presentable have those beautiful swells. We've done something similar on our property, restoring the original ones. And I think that would be great.
I agree.
These are the samples that he left.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, so I'd like to,
Sorry, one other
yes.
question.
Yes, sir.
Do you have any planting plans or what do you were saying grass or?
Yeah, right now there's grass and moss that borders the driveway, and I'd like to encourage both. I do at some point have bush ideas, but I've not matured that. I kind of wanted to get water there and then maybe in the fall start to think that through, but that would be more to the front of the existing driveway. They had some boxwoods and things that have just struggled without irrigation.
Right. It's just, yeah, it's just the what I'm getting at is that it's such a natural part of Tuxedo Park that, yeah, sometimes people get over enthusiastic and add too many bells and whistles, and that's what we're trying to avoid, so that it doesn't look too manicured. It still looks, very well maintained, functional, but appropriate to with the tuxedo patina. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense. And I mean, just 10 more seconds of ad, I'd say along the driveway lengths, if you will, I'm not planning to do much other than, again, just encourage, appropriate growth of grass and moss where it sits. It's, again, spotty depending on the weather and the sun and because of the lack of water. And then the only area right now that I really have different plans, and it's already been landscaped as such, the prior owners had done a number of plantings that struggle. So there were some hydrangeas that died, there's some boxwood. I do think I want to do a little bit more bush things so it feels natural, but I know an expert when it comes to that time to pick on who's on this committee. So if Mr. Gao is so willing, I would love to ask at that moment in the future.
Well, there's more than me here. We have a crew here now that can help you.
Does the board have any comments regarding the color of the mortar?
It would be dark to match the Riverstone. I saw that in the notes, right?
I thought some people that had done lighter, but I think the darker would be more appropriate and more interesting.
Got it.
Some of the lighter material is also a polymer sand that really doesn't hold up all that well, in my opinion. I think it'd be better to do the darker cemented in.
Okay, great. We're aligned.
And
Okay.
do you have the specific, because I can't read the date of the plan and the name of it was Barris Lepley Jr., correct?
Yes, and that was done, I think in 1987, but I had it refreshed.
Right.
I had it redone last year.
October 9th of 87.
October 9th,
87.
1987. And when was it? When did you have it?
I had it resurveyed. I know what it was when I purchased the home. So that was in probably October 2021. And it matched these lines essentially. I don't recall any variation.
But this document we're looking at is October 9th, 1987. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Might want to keep this date of the proposal, maybe. I want to, it's all.
Yeah, there's a-
Is it a date?
Oh, sorry.
At the top of it. it has-
27. Okay,
Mhm.
fantastic. Okay, do we have any more questions or concerns? No? Okay.
Does the audience have any
Does the
questions?
audience? Do our Zoom audience have any questions, concerns? Okay, I'd like to propose a motion to approve the drainage as marked on we're calling it 1987 or are we calling it 21?
I guess it's 1987.
We'll call it the October 1987 plan submitted to us today from J. Barris Lepley Jr. And for 57 Lookout Road, John Thompson, property owner. And do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it.
As protocol, what, is there any other actions, and maybe that's a led with question, before we take steps to proceed on the implementation of the plan?
I'll send you an email tomorrow regarding the permit fee, and that's the last technical piece I need.
Yeah. All right, thank you all.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Hi.
Good night.
Okay. The next up. Or just like Brett.
Last summer, I built an art studio, all cedar. Cedar doors. Last winter, wind off the lake blew all the doors off. Broke one door, you have a picture of it in there. Others have been reinforced. Went to Marvin, because they had the best doors that could duplicate exactly what exists, which is a green door with black mullions. And I informed John that I was doing it. Takes him forever to get it all done. And he said I should come before you to change the material. It's not visible from anywhere, and it's more durable than cedar, which was beautiful. It's all cedar and mahogany, but these doors are just,
Paul, is it one set of doors or is it multiple?
there are 3 sets of doors.
Okay. Right,
Literally broke off. It's a strange break.
right. From the
One of
force
them
of the-
cracked, and one of them got distorted. So it was just easier to replace all
Oh, I
3. so
see.
they all
Right,
match.
right. So the French door, sort of 3 sets of French doors.
They're made of with replacements.
Well, you know,
The spec sheet I got from the representative, it's a fiberglass. That's the spec of the door. And there's some pictures that,
Are these, this is the original one or? is
yeah,
this-
those are the original
Okay.
doors, and you can see on it the door that broke off,
Right,
like
is on the very far right,
plywood sheet.
right.
So these will be cosmetically identical, 3/5,
Right.
indetectable, just changing the material. Weather is a problem.
There's no shielding from the wind off the lake. There's no sort of trees between the house and the lake, and it's just
There are a couple of trees, but it's a large, the wind
Right.
gets up
a lot of weather, right,
strongly.
Yeah.
And it's just,
right.
you know, it's like putting
Yeah.
I didn't want to put screen doors up.
Sure, sure.
Beautiful
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
stuff. So that's
Facing due west, all the prevailing winds, right?
facing due west,
So, and the original doors were mahogany or cedar?
cedar.
So you've tried the best material possible for it and you're suggesting,
Well, the whole thing is cedar.
Okay.
And I love the smell of the cedar. the
Oh, me
look of the
too.
Cedar.
So nice.
I ended up doing mahogany. It was a funny story because mahogany, during COVID, the price of cedar doubled, right? And we found we could replace the cedar on the porch with mahogany at essentially the same price. So I redid all the mahogany decks that face the lake, so they all match. And the doors just broke.
the decks have held up well?
Yeah, they've held up perfectly. Well, mahogany is fine.
My concern would be the fiberglass material. I thought that these were going to be like an aluminum door or something that was metal. Would you happen to have a sample or something that they could
I don't have
provide?
an example. I went to Marvin, I said, give me your best doors. They said, this is the best. It'll have a veneer on it, so you won't see it. The color will match perfectly.
Okay.
I was most concerned about color.
Yeah, because you have the border there on the bottom and the
I
stairs.
see. I mean, you're going for the highest end one possible. They're an exact design match. You tried the other natural alternative material. I think that's a more than fair ask. My concern would be just in that the actual material matching, like the color of it. So is it like a custom color they're doing to match the trim that's there?
It's a custom color to match the trim that's there. And the key was not that it be matched, but I have, in the main house, I have black mullions. So the trim on the windows is actually black. So they had to actually do it with black mullions inset. So it's a perfect match.
It's a perfect match, I think. I would be in favor.
The veneer is wood, or it's wood on fiberglass, or it's all fiberglass looking like wood?
I don't know. I mean, I said, give me the best you got that's workable. So I
So
think-
wood
The spec
grain
sheet says
texture.
heritage wood grain textured fiberglass. So I'm guessing that they've imprinted that onto it and actually set it in the material. Like on
So we're replacing wooden doors with fiberglass doors.
essentially, that are custom built and the exact match that are the top end. Did they provide you with a price quote on it, just to show that these are similarly priced materials and we're not approving something that's a lower cost option?
Did they, you mean Marvin, did they?
Yes.
Give me, they did, I don't have it, whatever. I mean, it's been in construction for 2 or 3 months. It's just, everything takes forever. And I just regarded it as replacement, so I didn't even think I'd have to come before you, but Marvin, out of caution, sent the stuff to John. John said, this different material, I should come before you and get it approved.
Right.
So that's all I'm doing.
And we appreciate you being here and going through the process. I think it might raise concerns for introducing fiberglass as a material. The reason I'm asking for a quote from the company is to show that you're going above and beyond and doing the top end Cadillac option.
It's in the zip code of $30,000 to $45,000. I mean, I don't remember exactly, but it's in that zip code because I'm getting 3 double sets,
Mhm.
which is clearly more than I needed to replace the one door, but it's better than it will match.
Is there anywhere else in the park that has them, that's used them? Is there any other house in the park that has used these windows, the fiberglass doors?
There are a lot of Marvin doors, right? I have not tried to survey them, but this has been the harshest. Weather conditions continue to worsen. This has been a pretty harsh wind off the lake.
I will say we're redoing a house in Maine in Vinyl Haven on the Penobscot Bay, and with the word came back to us from the architects and the contractors as well. It isn't Marvin, I think it's Anderson, but the same material for heavy, heavy weather. I mean, for what that is worth.
I mean, have you seen it? Does it look?
I've seen the specs, I haven't seen in person.
Okay.
Did anyone?
Yeah, it's weather conditions continue to worsen. Okay.
Okay. I would say the comment that I think that you're, again, I think people are getting caught up on the fiberglass element where it is still a very high-end door and it's clear that you're showing attention to detail and matching what's there. I'm in favor. If,
It sounds like a hardship. I mean, the problem is going from natural to synthetic, which is again
to
going against
be
the design
fair, we did
guidelines.
put in the natural and it lasted 6 months and it wasn't a cost-cutting measure
Right.
or.
So I'm saying it's a hardship exception. So
Well, exactly. I think it's very important to cite it as such so that there's
Make that
no
distinction.
precedent.
Agreed.
This is an unusual lot where it's totally unobstructed. You've got the heavy prevailing winds coming clear across the lake, hitting this small building. So it doesn't follow that this would be our first choice or even acceptable to us under other
Under ordinary
circumstances.
circumstances.
But here, maybe there's a good argument. In fact, I think there is.
Agreed.
so we're
Okay.
making an exception.
So I'd like to propose a vote in favor. Do I have a second?
Second,
Oh, move, sorry. Move. It's my first time.
It's okay.
Thank you. I'd like to move for a vote.
Second.
Thank you. Those in favor?
Aye.
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 Those opposed? The ayes have it.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
Very
you.
much. Have a nice night.
Okay, and our next applicant, Turtle Point, 79 Turtle Point LLC. Here. Welcome. Do we have plans available? Thank you.
Hello.
Good evening.
Edward.
Good evening, Ryan. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. My pleasure.
Hi, Christopher. Good to see you again.
How are you?
Good.
Good to see you again.
Hello, nice.
Nice to see you. Hi, Edward.
Hi.
These are the-
May I sit?
Yeah, whichever one you want, yes.
So I know that I put in some plans for the main home, but I want to redact them.
Oh, you can, please, the floor is yours.
He's talking about them now. He may not want to.
So on Saturday, I had a site visit.
Sure, sure.
Just
Yeah.
one moment, I'm so sorry. You're saying?
So we had a site visit on Saturday and it helped me to really understand where everybody's visions are on what the park's about. Now, I do know a lot about the park from a lot of my independent research in the Avery Library in Columbia and learning a lot about up here. So when we were looking at putting some windows in the turret on the main home, at first it looked great until everybody started saying, hey, why don't you look at it this way? It would not look good from the lake standpoint. It just wouldn't work. So I'm going to go back to the drawing board to cut the number of windows down and to move them actually so you can't see them from the lake. To give it,
Minimize it and tweak it a little bit, to position it more advantageously
yes,
to the onlooker.
yes. So you really wouldn't see it from the backside of the water. And you would see it from the south side, actually. And I think that that would make it easier for me to get through the process.
Yeah.
Okay. What I'm really here for,
I'm just finishing with those thoughts. Feedback about the windows.
yes, sir.
Yeah, so to be creative, but to channel as if you're Bruce Price,
Yeah.
what he would do. And then there seems to be two axes of the house, one facing the lake one way and one at not a 90-degree angle, but at like a 60-degree angle. And so maybe that one would be facing one way, one would be facing the other. But it would be helpful when you do bring back, like you do with these mock-ups, that there's a couple of options, or two or three options, so that we can look at it and say, you know what, this one's the winner, so that we don't say we don't quite like this, and then you have to come back
Take
again.
time out.
So there's two or three options, and it's very visually clear from different angles what it looks like, from the lake, from the side, so the clearest picture is painted for us to be able to visualize it, because it is a big ask, because it's a very important historic structure by Bruce Price, and meddling with it's we're not against that, but we just got to get it right.
Yeah, I mean, look, we're trying to bring Turtle Point back to what it was when the Laurel Arts came here and decided to start Bruce Price being an architect up here. So we're really want to bring it back to that.
It's great.
It's just that, so, we want to be able to put an office up there in that attic area. And we just need to get some light in there. We just have to figure out the right way to do it, to be able to get that light there.
When you have a good example, it's maybe a little bit too big, but there's another dormer. There are repeated dormers throughout the building, but on the right-hand side, if you play with that kind of little vernacular, size it down, maybe widen it, shorten it, and then space it appropriately so it doesn't dominate the turret, but is a feature that will give, light, cross ventilation, whatever, to that room that the client needs to use. And there's probably a good solution there.
We just have to find it.
The tricky challenge when we went to visit, because it's a crime that that room, that space is not being used, because it's quite fantastic. So I understand why.
So we're going to finish out about 5,000 feet in the attic.
to make it an office, kind of like I think Harry Potter, for where the grandchildren can run around with little capes on and play hide and seek and whatnot. And, you know, so reading areas and kind of like a beanbag area. And when I have the finals, after I get my windows approved, then I can really show you what our architects have put together. And Tom Pheasant is our interior designer. So Tom's been up from Washington several times to really get a good feel for the inside of the space. But I'm just not prepared for that.
Well, the challenge is that when you're inside, you know, you want the window at a certain level. The ideal level on the inside is different from the ideal aesthetic from the outside. So yeah, so that's going to be the magic thing. So it's not too close to the edge of the roof, to the gutter line. There's a breathing space. So that's what I see as the challenge. So it
That beautiful curved lip.
Yeah, exactly.
You want to give that space to breathe.
Well, it needs to be up a couple feet higher than that.
Right.
And it has to be proportioned so it doesn't look off of the original.
Right.
To the right of the home.
There's a precedent for the loft space. There's a new house up on Crow's Nest. The whole top floor is a bouncy room, a bouncy house for the kids. At Amber and Tamer's, the whole thing.
Is that right?
It's just one. Well, now they've grown up, but it's one big bouncy castle right across.
That's nice.
It's crazy. Yeah.
So I think in terms of making use of our time with you, if you're able to submit plans or give options, I think John can be very helpful with that process. He can give some feedback. I'd be happy to as well if there's anything that you're struggling with, and in unofficial capacity, I'd, you know, happy to. I owe you a site visit as well. I was out of the country this past week, but if there's a time that works well for you, I'm happy to.
Should we focus on the carriage
So-
house then today?
So let's move to the carriage house. So,
Wonderful.
well,
You have some
those
more
don't even work.
documents to show.
Okay. Yes, not updated ones.
I had to update today.
Looking like a little last minute inspiration.
Yes, well, after I had a very productive meeting. So if we look at to the left, this is the original carriage house. If you look in the middle, this is what we were trying to propose.
Okay.
After a lot of listening on my part, I realized that we're never going to get the balcony done over there. So if you go all the way to the right, but again, I ran out of time. We're going to use the original doors on the carriage house on the left-hand picture.
Okay.
Okay.
So it's column 1, column 2, column 3.
Yes, sir.
Gotcha.
Sorry, when you say the original doors,
So these are the originals.
you're going to use the
Right,
exact
these are
same
gonna be,
ones,
these exact doors,
not these.
not these.
Okay.
It's just that he couldn't kick it out for me quick
Oh,
enough.
good.
He couldn't kick,
That's great.
yeah, he couldn't kick that out for me. So these
Fantastic.
original doors, the original flower box.
Okay.
My
okay,
next question. Okay, so you
So-
will put the flower back.
Yeah, they couldn't get it.
And do I understand correctly that it would be in the middle?
Oh, so you
and-
are. they
So
are
I think
doing it
1,
underneath.
2,
Right, so we're gonna
3,
do
and then
flower
keeping the
boxes.
flower boxes.
3 of them.
Flower boxes under
Awesome.
there.
What
I
about
will,
the doors?
all the transoms are staying.
Transoms are
Transoms,
staying.
great.
Everything the way you see it right there is gonna look
Wonderful.
exactly over there.
Gotcha.
So where our changes
Hmm.
is these 2 windows.
They're enlarged and.
They're enlarged, and they're gonna have flower boxes under them also. And the reason being is that there is really no sun over there, which is blocked by very big oak trees and ash trees that we've been rehabbing these trees for the past 2 years to get them to grow back in. So it's a sunlight issue. It's, it's really what it is. We need to get more sun in there. And we've done sun studies. We've done a lot of studies. on the property itself.
Just some feedback on the windows. I would say the original ones, not really, they're not placed symmetrically. This is off and that's too. The new ones do have a nice sense of symmetry. And there's certainly precedent for bringing new light to their house. Desperate need of sunlight. I understand the struggle there.
So you were saying you're going to put a window, you want to put window boxes underneath the new
So
windows?
I want to have, so this one will be a little lower.
That may be a little bit too much now. I mean, will you visualize it?
I was just trying to do it to,
Maybe.
I love just having the center window
Yeah, I
box.
think
I
that's
don't know
enough.
if it needs them.
Center, especially if you have the
Yeah.
transoms at the top.
Yeah, just,
I agree, because it'll be very cramped.
Yeah.
The bottom of the side ones.
And then you kind of lose that visual plane and drops it down.
Yeah, yeah.
and what, and with the windows you're proposing, obviously originally there were going to be doors leading out to the terrace. So what is your thought now? What type of window would it be?
They're custom one-offs. They're cedar and mahogany,
And then there's sort of sash or,
double hungs.
so because they're custom to, and you've got these old windows there, something that they matches.
It's the exact match.
Yeah,
It's an
so-
exact match. So what we did, so right now the doors, I did radiant heat on both floors. So I had to raise the basement floor about 5 inches to get it, because it used to be a carriage house, right? And you know how the basements are. Yes, so the new door, I'm gonna call it old new doors. The old doors are at a mill right now, getting milled and rebuilt to be able to reinstall. The transoms are still there right now.
Such an improvement. It's really great
It
to
is.
see.
Yeah, it is
I
nice.
see one other vestigial detail from the middle point, which is you have these two sconces.
They're coming off. Because the old carriage house doesn't have any on there.
Just want to make sure.
Yeah, no, we're not gonna have any lighting.
So will we get an updated visual or plans, like with all these changes that we're talking about?
Elevations.
I can get you guys some elevations. I'm really looking for you guys to approve me so I can weather tight this thing in.
Mm,
I've had it open for a long time.
yeah.
But I can get you new
We,
elevations.
we can presumably approve subject to
Yeah.
us providing
Yeah, I think so.
as discussed.
I think
We
there's
are
just too
keeping-
many
we're-
changes
There are,
between the
right.
three.
I think we're
versions.
definitely headed in the right direction. We certainly want to be preservation minded
Yes.
and getting it weather tight. I have one last concern on windows though. If we're looking on the back side here, there's a change where this window is filled in halfway. So, yep,
sorry.
so, oh no, not a problem. This back window here. On that one. Oh, no, I'm sorry, other side. I'm looking at it upside down. I'll circle it and show you on mine. So this one appears to be in the elevations half filled in. I noticed on the original one submitted too, whereas this is full glass.
Oh, no, it's full.
It's full glass, that's a rendering error.
Yes, sir.
And that answers that. Okay, yeah, I think, and was there something on the second page for you think to?
No, it was just, I probably should have just showed you guys. Yeah, so this is old, this is new, but we
Okay.
have to change the doors.
Gotcha.
You're keeping the stone chimney
Yes,
Right.
chimney staying.
and the
Great.
roof will be,
I want to put cedar roof. I want to go back to the original.
Wonderful.
Cedar roof on that and the main home, but that'll be in my main home. It's gonna be Alaskan yellow cedar.
Which grays out really nicely.
Which can gray out really pretty.
Yeah.
and the railing is, this is the straight railing. It's not the fancy one.
No, no, no.
Right.
Duplicate to the railing that's there right now.
Yeah, I think this is moving in a beautiful direction. So steps for conditionally improving, we would need elevations, an accurate mock-up.
Yeah, great.
And then
We appreciate it.
specs on the architectural.
Yes,
details.
and specs.
Gutters, leaders, windows, hardware. There's no lights, so we're not worried about lights. I don't know if there's any other architectural details the board is concerned about.
The finish and the color is, you're going to it's gonna be the same color as before?
So we have a perfect color match.
Oh, great.
And the wood, it'll be the same color as before?
Yes, sir.
And that matches, is that the same as the house?
It's a
you-
little bit of a different color than the house, which right now Tom Pheasant is in the Avery Library trying to find what the original color of the home was, because it was a little darker. And about 20 years ago, they lightened up the home itself. I think when they put that roof on, the asphalt roof, I don't know what year that was, they did lighten up all the trim. If you look at all the original pictures of the home, the trim was a little darker. But I want to get photographs because a lot of what we have is hand drawings from late 1800s, early 1900s. So it's hard to tell, was it a slate roof or was it a cedar roof? We think it was a cedar roof, just based on when you're in the attic, you can see all the nails coming through. And with slate, you're usually going to have 2 top nails in it. So
The joist size might give you a clue as to whether you're going to need much more structural support than like slate.
sure, yeah, the joist size in this house is insane. I've never seen anything like it. And that, you know, since we're giving up our deck that I probably should have never went for. Eventually, this is just for my next time. This is, I showed everyone where the original
This used to be a
gazebo was.
Is the foundation still remaining?
Everything's still there.
Oh, that's
Oh,
fantastic.
amazing.
So great.
Absolutely
So
stunning.
we have a company up in Maine, Timberwolf, who will produce this when we're ready. We're going to take a little bit out of it. I think there's too much detail on the posts at this
And I
point.
also wonder about these breathing sort of pediments or whatever they are.
What are you talking about?
This detail.
It's coming out.
That seems
Yeah, it's-
over
Yeah, it
and
was,
it would take away the rustic beauty of the.
But is it, I thought it was 4 posts, original posts. Was it?
this right here goes around.
Mhm.
Okay, no, yes, the foundation wise,
Mhm.
there's 4.
Right.
This one is 8.
Hmm.
So when I spoke to them today, I said, we're gonna have to cut it down. I don't know if the engineers will sign off on the 4.
Did you find it, a drawing of the original or
I
not?
have it.
Oh, you do have it,
We
okay.
have the original drawings.
Uh-huh.
It's just that it's in storage. So my people were looking for it all
Ah,
day
okay.
today. And I was just like, you know what, just get me something. But we are going towards something like this.
It's a great starting point. If you
To-
have original drawings, I think that would be,
Yeah, the
Amazing.
originals, pretty amazing. And this is dressed up a little bit.
I think if you're going to give that copper peak, I would really do it. I would make the gesture a little bit more boldly. It seems neither here nor there.
Well, we were doing this, that's the exact match to the original copper on Turtle. So that's the exact match.
On the gazebo or on the house itself? Or what?
On the main home.
Oh,
On the main home, it's greened out now. But this is almost there.
but I think without these things, it'll be much
Yeah,
handsomer.
those are coming off.
Oh, and it just sort of going back, talking finials, I think going back to the turret dormers,
Yep.
those sketches, the original sketch had a little finial on top, which I thought was a finial too far, you
It
know.
was a finial too far.
So, yeah, so make it a little bit less. And the other thing that, and maybe Stephanie would know this, I didn't think Ruth Hillbeard went to your house. I thought she went to Boulder Point.
She did.
No, she was in our house
Are you
first.
sure?
Because I see these documents here of saying Ruth Heidsieck, so
I thought Ruth Beard went to the other.
me too, yeah. So this is,
About that. I'm gonna- yeah.
we'll have to check.
Both houses say the same.
I think they're very proud of Ruth Hillbeard going there, but it's,
Everyone wants a piece of her.
yeah. But Whoopi was selling there, yeah. we know
It
that.
Yeah.
We actually found in the basement some of the original drawings of the home which is pretty amazing, that I'm getting preserved right now.
The blueprints.
Blueprints,
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
Everyone
yeah,
has a similar experience.
which was totally by accident. We found a room that I didn't even know was there. Actually, I didn't take you guys. There's a little room by the pool downstairs. There's a little trap door. And if you open it, it must have been like an old root cellar or something like that. And we found them in there, and we found like some old screens from the home. It was great.
Awesome.
Wonderful. Okay. So I think we're definitely moving in the right direction. I think we should make a motion to conditionally approve this with updated elevations, updated renderings, and with the changes that you've laid out for us today. If I don't have an up-to-date copy, can we just?
John, were there any other conditions? I have specs on the architectural details.
Any specs on the architectural details? I don't know what, it sounds basic, but
The proposed windows.
the window boxes, bracketry under them, or I don't know, if they're big boxes, there must be some detail back brackets to hold them.
That's part of the detail of the design. They're wooden brackets, I think, that are part of the
Yeah,
design.
it's too small to tell there.
It's too small,
Yeah.
but you can see.
I mean, I'm anxious, like you, for it to move forward,
Yeah.
but I'm just wondering whether we may be rushing it in, whether we should have the thing so we can all be on the same page, so we don't, because we certainly don't want you going off, with a misunderstanding and doing something, and we say, no, we didn't mean that. What do you think? What are you
Our
comfortable
intent
with?
is clear and being conditional until we receive the requested materials.
The question is whether you want to vote on them now or wait till we get them. That's the big issue. It's up to
Want
the
to
board.
outline the changes here, like transom staying,
Is
original
this-
doors, flower boxes?
Yeah, as discussed, I mean, we can
Yeah.
give the bullet points, but this is actually a very helpful list. So per Molly's list, transoms are staying, the original doors, our flower boxes are being maintained, so the original one.
One plant.
Mhm.
Cedar and mahogany double hung windows, the
Alaskan yellow.
the
cedar
Alaskan
roof.
yellow cedar roof, and we'll duplicate the railing to what's there. And you've elected to keep the original doors, not the previously proposed doors.
And the chimney staying.
And the chimney staying,
Beautiful
The
chimney.
lights are gone,
and the lights are gone.
and that's it.
Yeah.
I feel, I mean, I
Great.
think
It's a lot, but it's clear. I
it
think.
is.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you very much.
May I have a second?
Second?
Those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it.
Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Thank you so much.
I put over the exterior renovations to the main house.
Yes, we should clarify.
Yeah, that needs to get.
We were strictly speaking about the carriage house, and we'll revisit the exterior renovations. And if we can be of any help with that, please feel free to submit to John new plans.
And then whenever you want to come out.
I'm here all week, whenever it's convenient for you.
The plan that we do have, the latest plan is what, CH 302,
Correct.
dated today, right?
Contact info. So,
Mine's 203. A lot of people don't answer it.
I will
My
answer.
pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you so much.
Great to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Nice to see you.
Take
My
care.
pleasure. Thank you.
Okay. And then
That's tomorrow.
We'll put them in the file.
Thank you.
Thank you so
You have a
much.
great night.
See you as well. Thank you. Okay, and last but certainly not least, the applicants for 117 Tower Hill Road. If you're ready. Or do we have any documents?
There should be some sample materials as well.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hi.
I have a burning question for you.
Sure.
Who's Babushka?
Sample material.
How do you know?
We saw the plan. We were in the site visit yesterday. And we saw that on the window, there was a plan.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Babushka is my great grandma. I'm bringing her here. She's getting the family reunification process right now, so she's gonna live between my mother and my sister here, which is very exciting. She's 90 years old, so I want her to live in a very luxurious manner. We're gonna take her house and all that.
That's great. Very kind. Thank you.
Fantastic. Wait, I'm gonna check on the phone because I have that on the phone and Beth has it on the iPad as well, so we can look at it from every single dimension. I'm Victoria. I am the, pleasure to meet you too. I have a lot of stage fright right now, so excuse me if I get nervous. It is?
Together.
Oh, fantastic. I've been preparing for this for like 3 months. I pray that you guys approve, so I just.
Not true. Dismiss that. You've been fed the wrong information.
So, yes, so I purchased this house for myself and my family, and we just started the demo inside and would like to update the exterior. Would like to do it in the most respectful manner possible. In the meantime, I would like for it building to look as neutral as possible because it's a historic district. This is not a historic building. Unfortunately, can't afford a historic building just yet, but this is.
We have one little very historic building on the property.
Oh, yeah, we do, and we'll get to it for sure. This one, the idea was to make it neutral, to make it blend with the background. We have a few buildings around us, as you probably seen on the site visit, that are all very different architecturally. So honestly, when we started the project, it felt overwhelming. We're like, what do we match to? It felt too much. And then I always, being European, I always don't like anything fake. And it feels like once you start faking things, they look cheap most of the time. So we were like, let's just do our own. And this was the start of it. It's how do you blend into the surrounding as much as possible. After a lot of research, we looked at a lot of Danish architecture, mid-century architecture, and how they do it in Europe. And I honestly would love for it to look like it's in Europe. And I don't know how to make it sound good, but yeah. And we came up with resurfacing the house with black wood. And there is a few samples of color that we like. I personally like Blackboard because it's the most neutral one. Arches is a little bit on the cooler side. Aspen would be more, it actually, like on a larger scale, it looks a little bit lighter.
Which one's which?
Aspen looks lighter when you stretch it on larger surfaces.
Blackboard's the one you like.
I prefer it as well. Because it's the most neutral black that there is, it doesn't look too black, if that makes any sense. It doesn't give you a cool effect when it's being spread out. We also have a third option, which unfortunately the sample didn't come for today, but it's engineered wood solution. And the engineered wood solution is diamond cut. It's engineered wood that is already pre-colored. It's the color onyx, so basically black. The good thing about this, I'm very much into sustainability. The engineered wood is a more sustainable option. It looks exactly the same outside. The actual material is wood. What happens with it, it comes pre-stained, and the stain is guaranteed to last 30 years. When if we have to paint it the way we would paint the wood, we would need to repaint it every 5 years. So that is the question. I am happy to do either or, deciding on what you decide to do. Personally, I prefer the more sustainable option because there's less maintenance, less fumes in the air, and it would just last longer. This is just as a discussion about wood and color. With the windows, all the windows proposed are Marvin. They're all wood section. I hear you guys like wood windows. They're wood exterior and interior, which Marvin could barely believe I would like to order. But all of them, majority of them are grandfathered. There is very few windows that are changing in their shape. There's changes that you see on the pictures that we're changing the front door, would like to change the front door with your permission. There's reasons for this. It's right here.
The
Yes,
A6.
right in front of you.
Plus, you're moving it away from the staircase, so you.
The staircase is currently aggressively not up to code.
Yes, yes.
It's so not up to code that I can't believe it's there, and I didn't let my children go on it. But in order to make it up to code, we need to extend it all the way to the wall and then turn it. And that's the only way we can make it up to code. So the door physically can't stay where it is in order to make it happen. So we actually centered it, and inside there's a big fireplace. So at the moment, the door is centered exactly to the fireplace. So when you come in, we would put a big mirror, and that would be a very nice entrance, and the staircase would be on one side, the dressing room would be on the other side, which feels nice. The proposed door is also from Marvin, so that it matches the windows. It's wood, it's pine. It would be finished the same way as the windows, should you approve this window touch. Would look neutral. I personally voted between our long architectural meetings on having black exterior and the wood touch on the window. I just feel like it makes it a little bit more interesting. It could be changed, obviously, but I really like this.
You said pine, I think you meant oak, right? White oak, it says here.
Oh, sorry, oak. Oh my God, I'm
that's
sorry.
much
You see, I'm stage fright. I'm getting nervous. Yes, sorry. Oak. So the oak is matched to the floor. I don't know why I said pine. I think I keep thinking about pine staircases. Yeah, so that's basically it. Oh, the roof. The current chimney is leaking and very urgently needs help. We actually are very nervous about framing inside because it keeps leaking right onto it. In order to remove the roof is in very bad condition at the moment. What we would like to do is remove this roof and switch it to a black asphalt shingles, which are exactly the same thing as now. The ones that we're proposing are better than what was used originally. They're more durable. They have a lifetime guarantee, or at least 50 years.
Have you considered raised steel, raised seam steel?
We actually have, and we had the original package had steel roof on it.
Maybe, did I see that before?
It's possible. There was a set around here, I think.
It feels kind of inevitable for the design here, but why did you go back to asphalt?
I had a bunch of estimates.
Price point.
Was it a significant?
It was triple.
Okay.
Triple the price of the roof, and you know the metal roof for this is about $65,000-$70,000. The replacing of the lifetime guarantee shingles is 25. Big difference. So you know, although I personally would love to have steel,
And it would look great with this design.
absolutely. Another conversation that I had with the actual roofers was the fact that usually they put steel where there's a lot of snow because the snow travels better down the steel roof. They in this area there's not the amount of snow that is usually required. So the decision to go into steel, which I personally prefer, would be purely aesthetics.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nice.
But the chimney you're keeping, right?
Absolutely.
Oh, good.
Keeping the chimney, restoring the chimney. The
Do you have to
current-
repoint it, or is it?
Nope, it will stay exactly the same. The only thing that needs to happen is that there is the chimney, like
The flash.
the flash, yeah.
Okay, that's what's leaking.
It's leaking very bad right now. So every rain brings buckets of water inside, which is something we really want.
Beautiful detail. It makes you wonder what was the building originally before this?
So we actually tried to dig into it and try to find what happened. It doesn't seem like there was anything. So what it seems is that the original, there is a 118 Tower Hill Road, which is the beige palace right above us. And
Beige palace, I like that.
I don't know how else to
Well
call it.
described.
I really like it. I keep on manifesting it from my windows. What happened there is that there's multiple levels of gardens, and these gardens used to be covered gardens before. And the building on our property, the little structure, used to be the gardener's home or potentially a place where he stayed.
It was the furnace, down below, there was the furnace to heat all the greenhouses.
Yes. So that's exactly what was going on there. And they actually used to have water there. And by the looks of things, with my long conversations with John, what happened is that around 70s, they decided to build a bigger house there. So they cut all the water supply from the smaller building because they don't want to have multiple usable buildings on the same property, which is what happened. And that's how we know that there wasn't anything else there before, because otherwise there would be a different land parcel cut, usage. So that's kind of the history around it. It looks like this house was genuinely built in the 70s.
The fireplace inside, it's been demoed at CMU.
Okay, they just did really good work on
At the
the
top,
exterior, yeah.
But it hits the roof, it's good, and
Yeah.
below it, just CMU.
Funny.
yeah, that's our little plans. Please let us know what you'd like to discuss.
And I'm very excited about your chicken house.
Oh, absolutely. I forgot about the chicken house. So chicken house is something that John could not believe when I spoke to him the first time about it. But what happened is me and my family, we lived in the city before the pandemic, and we had a country house in the Catskills. So during the pandemic, we moved to the Catskills, and right now we're trying to even out the distance, considering the fact my girls need to go to school. They're going to go to Tuxedo Park School, which is amazing.
My son's there too,
Really?
3-year-old little.
Same,
Oh,
yeah.
great.
Very exciting. So we moved for the school and because of the commute, because when we first came here, my jaw dropped and I'm like, I have to live here. So this is what happened. And with chickens, we were bored during the pandemic. So we started with 4 chickens for fun. Grew a little bit as my husband's biggest passion in life. At the moment, we have a few extremely exotic, crazy chickens.
What kind?
So I'm not the person. The most exotic ones we have are black. So everything about them is black.
Oh,
from,
the Swedish ones.
Yes.
Yeah. I forget what they're called.
Gorgeous. The tail, all the paws, everything's black.
Yeah.
And they'll match the
make
house.
Oh my God. So passion forward.
Yes.
It's
They're
all about
beautiful.
aesthetic. Yeah.
They're very tiny. They're very beautiful. They're very well behaved. We don't like roosters. We don't let them stay around.
Boys away, yeah.
Yeah, because they make sound. They have bad temper.
Full disclosure, I have hens as well.
Yeah.
No roosters.
In New York City, they're illegal. Roosters are illegal. You can keep chickens.
A lot of municipalities, they're illegal,
Yeah.
probably for good reason.
They're bad energy. Absolutely.
No, they just get up too early.
They're allowed.
Yes, exactly. They're noisy.
So yeah, we are obsessed about having a chicken coop, and this time, because at the moment in the previous house we were reusing an existing structure which used to be a pool house for them. Now we would like to build an absolutely state-of-the-art chicken coop that reuses rainwater and has all the electric facilities to heat itself and stuff like that. They would not make any sound because it's only hens. We take very good care of them, so there's no real smell, but also they're very far from any neighbor. They're really down the hill. They're closer to us. We put them in a way that it would not be visible to any of the neighbors unless they visited us for coffee. And it's close to the parking lot. One of the things that's happening there about the property as well is that because of these gardens, there's this big stone wall that stayed. It seems it's a beautiful wall. I personally am obsessed with it, but we felt like it would be nice to work with the existing. So the idea here is that how the chicken coop marries with the existing wooden wall.
It's brilliant.
It would not use a lot of, it would not damage it in any way whatsoever. It would not damage any land. The chicken coop itself, for a lot of chicken purposes, touch the floor exactly. We're just hiding it from the side. But rather than that, yeah.
I think this is an incredible use of space. I think it wonderfully marries the old between the new and shows the restoration that you're doing. Yes. Incredible use of space. It makes
And
me
it's
very
in the
happy.
walls towards the back, you said, so it's kind of like the back patio area. That's where the chicken.
It would be sort of the rear of the house, but it's sort of at the end of the house as well.
Okay.
It's very secluded if you think about it. It's the closest to the car park.
It's on A1 there, you can see where the location is on the.
That beautiful stone wall is an inspiration for the basement level of your house. So there's that side,
Yeah, the
yeah,
really dramatic sort of,
this part here.
yeah.
So that, I mean, personally, I love all this. This is fantastic. I love this too, but it may be a little bit too much for Tuxedo Park. I was wondering whether, this could be, you could have a stone facade on this.
I personally love this idea. At the moment, currently, it's white stucco. The stucco is falling apart. It's in pretty bad condition. I love the idea of stone. The solution that we currently have here, if you make it closer, I don't know that the print is not making it right, but the idea that the interior designer actually had is to basically pour something similar to cement and then take pieces of wood and press them against it. So you get stucco, but with the texture of cement.
Brutalist kind of application.
Or like
Yeah.
a formwork for the concrete.
So it would continue the wood from down from here to here. So when it transitions, you come close to it and it feels like wood, even though this is more like a stucco cement kind of thing. I'm personally absolutely open to stone if it has to be. My only thing is, as was what I was saying earlier, the reason why we didn't go into that route yet, I am personally not feeling great about things that are fake. And I feel like it's so difficult to fake
Properly, right? 'Cause you're
proper
gonna
good
end up with a
stone.
veneer.
It almost has to be,
Can I
yeah.
ask you a question? Because
Yeah.
that is so resourceful, what you just said, and I love the brutalist hint of it. Is it partly a matter maybe of just tinting it a little bit, because the concrete can have that effect and can be legitimately, honestly concrete, but with a wood. But just
Making it
So
darker.
soften the
go
tint.
like a gray or push the,
Go more in the stone family of tints.
sort of like a
But
grayish.
be
brown.
honest about the materials as you're being. I mean, maybe split the difference in.
I like that. I'm
the
very
comment.
open to that, actually. Sounds very
So I
good to
think
me.
this is really interesting, the idea of.
Oh, it's so sexy, but you know,
it's great.
we're on the sort of like modern side as well as the traditional side. A lot of people in the park are very traditional, so you know, it's you know, we want to be able to throw something at them to make them happy.
And to be fair, this also is, I think, a pretty, if not invisible, not often seen part of the house.
It's very difficult to see.
You can see it from one vantage when the trees are, I think.
When
So
the
this
trees
is
are
on
open
the
and you're
opposite-
driving on
Driving up Tower Hill.
Tower Hill
Drive, yeah.
Road,
Yeah.
you can see slightly from the corner, but usually you would go at speed. I really like the idea of having the staircase here. There is already a staircase, it just looks a little bit more repaired, that goes to the garden from over here, and changing this window to a door, because I feel like it would be a very nice thing for over there. Rather than that, yeah, my only thing is that I don't want it to start looking like it's imitating something.
Right.
I think that's an
That-
honorable thing, position, but I mean, maybe just tint it a little bit to soften that effect. It's quite harsh. Right
Very
now.
happy, we're very happy to tint it, if you like the rest of the idea.
By the way, though, speaking of pale and white, you have this beautiful kind of prize pig birch tree behind you.
I love it.
And I hope you'll take precautions like with a generously conceived drip line to protect it during all this work.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
'Cause it's very vulnerable.
I already removed all the caterpillar eggs that were on it.
So you love it already.
Oh, yeah, I'm into trees. I don't like.
And it goes beautifully with your design too.
I think so. And it reminds me of Homeland.
And
Right.
to finishing with the basement thing, the thing is, you've got that wonderful stone gardener's bothy potting shed next to it and adjacent to it. So that's the thing that there, you've got that historical building there
Historical
and next
building,
to it. So yeah, so it's got to be, so yeah, you're right in that to make it as beautiful as that would be impossible. So to go this way is not trying to be clever and try and imitate. So I think this is the way to go. But yeah, it's to get the tone right, the coloring right. So it doesn't fight. It's synergistic.
This is the same CMU wall that, is in the chimney. It's all the sort of the same generation.
Right.
But use that as your sort of guidepost in terms of the tinting, like really duplicate that exact tint, sort of quality of the granite.
Absolutely, absolutely. Very happy to. I actually think it's a.
But in
fantastic
a
idea.
different form that's very, boldly modern and resourceful.
Well, when we were looking at the design of this originally and trying to figure out where to even go with this house, the idea was that we looked at so many inspirations, usually European, usually from Scandinavian countries, where you have old rock, and what do they match old rock with? And it seems to be a very classical match to match it with a pretty straight line black wooden building. So that was the original reason why we went into this direction, is that it matches so well with the rock, considering the fact that we have the gardens, considering the fact that we have the little building that we will eventually get to as soon as we're hopefully, if we don't run out of all the budgets doing this, but we'll definitely get into giving some love to it as well.
The driveway, what is the current, what are your plans for the driveway? Currently it's asphalt, is it?
Currently it's asphalt, it's in very bad condition. So the idea is to potentially repair this asphalt similarly to how it's done at the moment. So we prefer our cars outside. We like it that way. it at the moment fits 2 cars easily. Right now, there's a dumpster there, so it doesn't fit anything. But we would not like to expand it because just don't see any purpose for it. We're not planning on having massive raves at our house, so we don't need a lot of parking. I don't
You
think.
consider changing to gravel?
What worries me about it is that
It's very steeply
it's
graded.
very steep.
Tar and chip would be a good. What's it called, John? Tar and chip?
Tar and chip.
Tar and chip, yeah. It's where you have the tarmac, you have the little gravel stones pushed into it. And it's like if you go to the club, that's what they did, the car park at the club. So it doesn't look so offensive.
Less painful than the
Well,
actual
asphalt.
tarmac. It's a slightly softer.
I don't think I've
asphalt.
seen that.
Yeah, so the club, they just did it, so you'll see it.
And you
Can
can
you use it as a topping on top of the asphalt? Or do you have to,
Exactly.
or do you have to tear out the asphalt?
No, it's a surface level application. You may want to repair the asphalt before putting it so you have a more level surface, but I personally like gravel and a crunch, so we ended up using both. Whereas when you get out of the parking area and where it's level, we use stone, but on the kind of slope that you're dealing with, we'll be implementing that to kind of just get rid of the asphalt.
I really like that actually, and it feels like we will need to repair asphalt. Asphalt is not pleasant to me as well, so I think I just couldn't figure out that that was a thing.
But I think you have to put a whole new coat in order for I don't think you can put the chips
You'd have
into
to
old.
surface it.
Yeah, you'd have to surface it, yeah.
It sounds like it's necessary anyway.
Yeah.
When
And the
when you come to repair it, you can just add another layer of stone that you get pressed in. I'm gonna try to get away from my asphalt also. That's another thing.
Best of both worlds.
Yeah, that's a nice compliment.
So has there been any comments from neighbors or any letters or any comments?
No, the neighbors were notified over a week ago. I sent them all a set of the plans and there's been no comments.
Wonderful.
I'm very excited already. It looks so much better now that we demolished the inside.
That's
There's-
amazing, yeah, I mean, it's, I thought they'd be like putting pig on a lipstick on a pig, but it's amazing what.
You've shown the beauty of the
Truly, the
building.
bones that you've been able to.
Very
It's
impressive.
very exciting, yeah.
I'm excited.
We're grateful because it was an eyesore, so it's.
Chairman, I just want to ask if anybody on the Zoom call has any comments.
There's one more thing we didn't address yet, the Atraska condenser enclosure detail. You gave two options, one being the same color of the house and one being the wood option to match the, was it oak or what was it on the windows?
So I prefer the black
the last
version,
page,
just trying
I
to
think.
give options to what it could be. It could be an interesting touch with wood, but it would make it stand out more. The condenser needs to be there because it needs to be somewhere in around the house because it's so sloped. There is very few.
There's
places
also a
in the
detail
house
of it
that
on the last
it
page.
could be positioned. It has to be open on the top and it has to have ventilation. So there was a very limited amount of things that we could actually work with. And we tried to make it a little bit interesting by giving it a triangle detail and keep it together with a trash enclosure. So it should be everything at once. It should make everything look more discreet,
Color.
more organized and simple in a
Oh, I
way.
see. It's the enclosure for the.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
in terms, it's definitely in compliance and I
And
think
which does she
good placement for it.
Yeah, which is
It
better.
disappears if you make it the same color of the house. I personally love the, what you did with the windows and having that kind of pomp of wood. I think it'd be a very interesting detail to keep in wood.
Okay.
Certainly a modern element. I mean, really go either way.
I
but-
love it with the windows. I think with this particular one, maybe being seen and not heard, actually not even seen.
Yeah,
Might
I
be-
kind of like it and with
Yeah,
black, yeah.
Disappearing out.
Yeah, so it
It's a
doesn't
trash
pop.
enclosure. Like if it was something else.
It's
that
really
would
the
be-
first thing you see when you drive in the driveway.
Right, it's right there, yeah.
Yeah, that's why we try to keep it as like focused as possible.
Draw the eye over to the good details like the windows and
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll make
Well,
it
hopefully
fun.
people will just go straight to the front door. The front door would be quite
you
exciting.
also have this most amazing view from the front door, from that little parapet.
You don't actually see that much of it because it's covered with a bush, but from the second floor. From
If you
the
imagine your
kids'
way,
bedroom.
because we were standing. Actually, a lot of it's hemlock. Anyway, it does have significant amount of the woolly adelgid. That's a
That's mine,
beautiful
yeah.
view to the lake.
It's exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
It was okay to purchase it, so thank you. Oh, yeah, we were in contract for 6 months.
Oh, wow.
Oh my
I had a
gosh.
similar
Sorry.
experience.
Oh my goodness.
We'll let the fun part begin.
I can't believe it's actually happening.
And colors, it would be,
Yes. I was just pointing in general.
yeah, it would be great to see like some swatches too in the house if we could see it in like the natural light, because I'm finding that like the colors I'm drawn to here look totally different on the renderings. So I think seeing it in person might be really helpful.
That's literally why I brought this guys.
Yeah.
But I think that the big decision here, and what I would love for you guys to tell me what you think, is if we're going into the wood or if we're going to engineered wood. And because they're different, the colors for them are different. The way I would give you a
Engineered
sample.
wood has a set color,
Has
as
a set
opposed to
color.
Right.
the wood,
The swatches,
yeah,
yeah.
that could be painted
Yeah.
different
Mhm.
colors.
But the engineered wood lasts at least 30 years, potentially more. It preserves heat significantly
To
better.
the eye, it's exactly the same.
You would not see
a
any
way we
difference.
could see a sample of the engineered perhaps? Did they have little samples?
So it was shipped to me last week. It didn't get on time. I'm supposed to receive it tomorrow.
Oh, no.
If I can show it to you on a different occasion, absolutely yes. It was supposed to be on this meeting, just didn't make it by a very short space of time, because what we're asking for most of the engineered wood samples that the exterior company showed me was not in a style that I liked. So what we're getting is a custom engineered wood way, so that it looks more like actual pieces of wood, the long pieces of wood, instead of the textures that they frequently do around here.
Mhm.
Even though for this landscape, usually it's a good option. We prefer to go to the custom way. That's the reason why we're getting a custom sample of it. I love usually everything that is like actual wood that you can touch, but this is actual wood. And if you look at the texture, it's basically wood very heavily pressed together. The engineering qualities of that wood are incredible. So the house would stay much longer, would look much better, less fumes in the air. It burns very differently should there be a fire. It's much better for the community
We
should
have
that be
lots
the
of
case.
those at Tuxedo Park. We did.
Really?
We did, historically.
It's wonderful.
Not anymore. We have a great fabric.
Like, don't scare me. Yeah.
There's a story there.
So it lasts double the lifespan?
It's actually a lot more. So it's depending on how much you recoat. So should there be wood that is painted, usually the requirement is to repaint it every 5 years. Majority of people don't do that because you never get to actually repainting your house until it starts actively chipping. By the time it starts chipping, the water comes inside, it starts doing ruining on the wood, eventually needs to be replaced. This wood comes with the layer that is so ingrained in the wood that for at least 30 years, there's no service whatsoever. So you put it on 30 years, it stands solid. Then after that, it could potentially either show some chipping that could be fixed, or you can replace it with something similar to that. But that is 30 years instead of 5, when we'll have to think about doing something about it, which is nice. And again, like painting a house, so it's tall. I wouldn't say it's the biggest house in Tuxedo Park, but it's tall, it's inconvenient, it takes time to get there. And honestly, I don't believe in myself that I will be painting the house every 5 years. I want to be that person. I have 2 small kids. It's hard. So we'll see how it's going to go. So that's why we really like the option of engineered wood. There's so many reasons, good reasons for it, I think. But it really depends on, what you guys would pass along. And we had a lot of discussions about what could not work. It's definitely not super historic, but this is a 1970s house, not an
It seems to be, we could do a conditional approval. Once we see the sample, then if it's problematic, then we can review it. But otherwise,
I think that would be appropriate.
The sample would be here tomorrow morning, so you just tell me how you want to see it.
I just would say I was agreeing with Rob that I find that contrast very strong. I like all of the other angles, but I find this one very crass. The color, so if that could become stone and less of a contrast between the upper and lower section, it'd be more sort of friendly to the rest of the costume. That's the only objection.
Oh, that's right.
That could just be softened.
Mhm.
I find that kind of stark, the contrast.
I hear you actually, now that you raised it, I actually agree completely with you as well. So it would be an easy fix.
As Christopher says, if it's in the same sight line, how it's what, 20 feet away from the other building, the stone building,
Yeah,
then that really offers you the solution. Just match that.
we can
to-
easily match that actually.
And then it's, I think it's south facing, right? So you could have some espalier, you know, pears, and apples, whatever.
All the above, and grapes as well. Exotic
The
birds.
next time we'll obscure that elevation with a tree right there.
Yeah.
Well, it's exciting.
Great. Yeah, no, very exciting. Yeah.
Extremely. I mean, I think this is the best execution of what this house could be. I think it's absolutely lovely.
Better cry there.
So the only other thing we didn't discuss was you wanted to delete a window and
Yes.
right, not
So there is a few window changes. I can explain all of them.
Sure.
Yeah, you can start with here. This is the front door change that we're moving.
Like
which,
A3.
as I was talking about, I don't think we really have a choice. We probably have choices about the doors. The windows next to it, there's two windows. Currently, they're different heights. So one of the things that happened in the beginning of looking at this building was that it looks like Tetris, like everything is different heights, everything is weird. What we try to do is clean up the lines in order for every window to be in a similar line, so geometrically they make sense. The reasoning for joining these two windows over here is that this is the kitchen window. There is no need in the current kitchen layout to have two windows like this. It's much better to have a bigger panoramic window above the sink, which is what it is. This is a 72-inch window, which is the longest that Marvin can make in wood. So this is the reasoning for this window. The window next to it becomes a pantry window, so it actually changes very slightly. It's very similar in size and shape. It's literally changing in order for it not to look like Tetris, for it to look in the same line. The window after that one, the last window over here, has been reduced in size because it's a new guest bathroom window, and it would be unfortunate for people to look through very easily when somebody is there. So the reason is like we're narrowing it down so that it's on the side of the mirror, so the mirror fits nicely in the window, but in the meantime, currently they become all on the same level. So when you look at the window at this elevation here, all of them are exactly right. When before they were all mismatched.
That all sounds really great. I have one question that's actually related but unrelated. I see 3 lampposts here. Are what are those?
This is
So
A3.
yeah.
Are those lampposts?
Yes.
Yeah, they're lampposts. The lamp is later on presented in materials on the materials section.
Have you considered something less?
Absolutely happy to do that.
I also wonder whether this particular model would even fit the lighting guidelines, because it appears to have unobstructed globe at the top, sort of illuminated straight up.
No, it's actually a globe. It's a standard globe.
A5.
But that might run afoul of the lighting code.
We have some guidelines regarding lighting, which we didn't talk about because I wasn't aware of the light at the time. I'll give you a copy of them tomorrow and you can
Okay.
rethink the fixture.
I'm sorry.
It's for the wildlife. It confuses the wildlife and just light pollution in general. But we want the light to go down and not up. Unobstructed. This sconce is beautiful though.
We can absolutely fix that. That's shouldn't be an issue.
Garden pathway. I like the mushroom style lights that could be a good alternative.
Very happy to do that
Gentle,
instead.
quiet.
Okay, heard you. We can absolutely do that. That will change that for the next day. That's no problem. Can I move on to the next ones? The windows. So if you look at the same side, now we're looking at the back side with the contrast.
Sheet A4.
Yes. So if you're looking at this elevation on this side, what's happening here is that we are also cleaning up the windows, putting them more in the same line. The bathroom windows that are over there on the second floor and on the first floor are being elongated to basically give a little bit more light to the bathrooms that are currently dark and small. This would give it a little bit more of an airy feeling. And the window on the basement level becomes a door over here. The reasoning for this is that the only way we could figure out the layout to have the right drainage system for the bathroom that is being added in the basement, my babushka luxurious bathroom, we need to replace the door with a window, because otherwise she's going to have a door inside the bathroom, which doesn't make logical sense. In the meantime, over here, we are making it into a nice double door. So it would be an exit to a small patio of sorts. And then you can go up the stairs into the garden from over there, but it has a nice view as well. So that was the thinking behind it, just to get the front door away from the bathtub. With the way the plumbing and HVAC works there, is that this is the only layout that could allow to have a bathtub over there. And being nearly 90 years old, I feel like you need to have
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this was a thought process behind it. Now, if you look at this elevation, which I think is the next, yep.
The next
it's
page,
right. What's happening
No, I'm
here
sorry, that's right.
what happens is that the triangle window on the side of the building, we're proposing to reduce it in size. Not necessarily have to happen. The thinking behind it was that it would match the door underneath better, so it would geometrically look nicer. I'm glad you think so. I sometimes go back and forth on it, because when you're inside, it has such nice light beams that brings to it, and reducing this window sometimes hurts my soul. But it also feels like geometrical lines of the building become cleaner and nicer. So this was the thought process behind it. All the other windows are grandfathered, pretty much the same exact window, just being replaced with a new one, wood that would feel better. Now, if you're looking at the door here, we're putting my husband's office in the garage, which is the point of all the jokes in my house at the moment. But what's happening is that we're replacing the door in the garage into a window, so it becomes a little hallway inside. So it's like a light beam during the hallway, and we're making the existing window into a door, because it feels a little bit closer, a little bit more logical to enter the house through there. And we have a dog, so that's an easy way to get the dog out of the house. And the large new window proposed would be my husband's office window. So that gives you a nice view of the garden while he works there. So that's it. And on the garage door, we are planning to remove it and replace it with the enclosure that we discussed earlier that would have the heat pump in it and the trash enclosure. So this was the thought process behind all of these windows, as well as cleaning up the existing. But I love the existing windows so much. They're so vast and so beautiful. I feel like they're the reason this house is lovable.
Can you explain one thing? This double roof effect here at the very end, what was going on there?
That is an existing condition. They, I don't know, I think they probably, originally it wasn't a garage, and they must have extended just enough to make a garage space.
Oh, that's interesting.
And there's really no good solution other than to just leave it. I see.
It's just.
It is what it is, yeah.
Yeah.
At least you could remove the kind of interstitial space there, or could you go?
I mean, you could reframe it so that it just was one hip roof.
Well, that would be much.
It would certainly be an improvement.
Yeah. Or bring the gable all the way out.
That's what, yeah.
Right. That would be much. I don't know why you'd go to so many great lengths to make this house beautiful and then leave that detail, but.
Yeah, it's probably 3 or 4 feet at the most.
Even if you left and had it sort of with more of a lip and an overhang, that might, but at least you simplify that.
You could even,
know what I
in
mean?
theory, you could even dummy it out and
Right.
and fix it on the facade.
You could dummy it out if it wasn't
yeah,
too much
just-
of an expense, or just simplify it, because that really looks unfortunate. To me, anyway. Maybe not.
It
to
does seem
others.
like we're putting so much
There
thought into
there
the
is,
geometric.
there's actually, yeah, you were looking at actual pictures of it. Yeah.
Putting so much thought into the geometric lines of this house, it would seem like a shame not to just have that end cap be cleaned off. And that's the first roof line they see coming in.
I mean,
I hear
I guess the other thing about that is that it's also narrower. It
Mm-hmm.
insets on both sides.
Well, that's what I was wondering. I mean, you could leave the narrowing and just have more of a bring the gable out, and it would just float a little bit more. I mean, it could be an interesting look.
So having this corner, you mean, float out.
So then you would almost have to put a column there, right? So that you
Oh,
can see-
God, no.
No.
I mean, just have it cantilever. Just a thought. I mean, I don't know what happened or what the story was behind this, but it seems strange. And if you really are trying to give a really meaningful mid-century, European mid-century modern overhaul of this building, want to do it right.
Yeah, what would Tom Ford say?
We always look to Tom Ford. It's actually a good film director.
I agree.
I had another question. So you are reusing the existing bluestone paving. What about the steps, the new steps down to the basement level? What's the plan?
So the interesting thing is that there's a lot of reasonable bluestone roofing, which just needs to be reset. And we found a massive pile of bluestone in one of the bushes on our property that we are not sure where it came from, but it's in perfect condition, brand new. And it feels like it was taken from somewhere, and we would just reuse that. We don't know the source. It was just in the bush. It's a big pile.
So it's sufficient to do the steps all the way down. Okay.
Lock it up.
Fantastic.
Wonderful.
There's
Great.
plenty that could be salvaged, and we have a lot in the bush that we could reuse for that as well. It matches it perfectly. So the idea was to salvage whatever we can salvage, what we can salvage, get from the bush. Should that be not enough, which is very hard to believe, then we would go and source some more. But there's plenty in the bush.
And the same thing for safety, the lighting there would be the downward, mushroom type lighting that could be on.
So the sconces that are chosen that are on the building, they actually do that. The bulbs
Right, the
were not.
sconces, right.
Yeah, the
They're
sconces.
beautiful. Yeah. The cylindrical ones, right?
They feel like the most classical, like they seem to be like the only option that is being used in buildings like this.
Yeah.
So it seems to be fitting quite organically.
Choice.
Yeah, and then I feel like we spoke about all the windows.
Yeah.
If you have questions, let me know.
One thing about the windows, that since there's, I mean, I know they're all there already, but with large windows, I tend to, it's expensive to buy bird-friendly windows, but I've actually found a film that one can just attach. To me, there's nothing more depressing than a hummingbird with a broken neck flapping on the ground. But so, there's so many birds here. So I've actually found a very cheap window film that I put over all my windows to stop reflectivity. You still can see outside. It's no difference from the inside, but it just stops them from smashing in.
I would love to do that, actually.
I feel so much better not having that threat.
Yeah, that's not great. That happened a few times in our existing previous house.
I can show you what that is. I have like a whole list of different types of film.
Oh, no, I would definitely like that. That's a great suggestion, actually.
Oh, and one last thing about the asphalt shingle, if you can just see about making it as rectilinear as possible. There are different ways of cutting it, and sometimes they try to make it look kind of more country, and they sort of chop it up in different angles. It just, I don't know who your roofer is, but keep it as clean.
The sample.
I think that's the sample
that's
there.
okay.
I was bringing that. I think that there's only one version how they do them. We chose the black color, so I don't think you see it
So
over
these
here.
the spheres, yeah.
If you open it from the other side, I think it's there. It's just the most black in the right middle of the thing.
This one?
Yeah, so it'll.
Well, maybe it's dark enough that you won't see, because they're definitely doing exactly what I was describing. But
This would give it as neutral of a feeling as possible.
I can see it disappearing even there.
Yeah, and these shingles give you a lifetime guarantee. So they're 50-year shingles. They're thicker than the usual ones. There's some layer inside of them that makes them somewhat special, but I'm not a shingle specialist, but I was heavily sold on this particular brand.
Well, black hides all scents.
Yeah. When you don't know what to do, make it black.
Right. I would say it would look lovely with a metal roof. Standing
Yes, it would.
standing seam can sometimes be a cheaper option than doing the full metal option. For thought.
I know. Changing it to shingles.
But this totally gets most improved player award.
Mhm.
This whole proposal, it's really brilliant.
Thank you. We worked on this for many months.
It shows in a good way.
Project. Very excited to make it happen. I'm moving as soon as possible.
So we just need, for things to come back on, we would just need new proposals for the lamp posts. If you were considering doing the roof line, we'd love to see a drawing. It's not a requirement by any measure.
You're
just-
talking about the garage?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Yes.
We need samples for
Engineered wood
for
for the
the
facade.
engineered wood for the
Yeah.
facade. We'd love to see that. You said that you weren't local.
We are now. We just moved
Yeah.
2 days ago. into
Oh,
rental.
congratulations.
Oh, that's great.
We don't like our rental. We want to move out.
A good deadline, I find, goes a long way to getting a project done sooner.
Oh, yeah.
Can I just say one last thing? If you look at this picture, I feel like the house is showing you what it wants. There's this beautiful sort of echo. I don't know what the term of art is for that point. Slope, but boom, boom, boom. If you had that sort of echo receding, do you see what I'm talking about?
Where the eave comes in.
The end of the eave, that triangle is, it would be a very handsome look if you saw that receding, boom, boom, boom.
My husband keeps joking that this is like one of our daughter's toys that, everything smashes.
Like
in.
organ, right?
It's like the shed.
Yeah.
See what?
You're talking specifically about the window?
So here, I'll.
The corner of the roof.
You see that detail?
Yeah.
Boom, 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 like if.
So you just sort of mirror this
Yeah,
all the way?
it's a very appealing rhythm that is
That sense of
established.
repetition, I think, would speak to the mid-century style that you're going
Absolutely,
for.
and it's such a public moment, like why not seize that?
This is really the only facade you can see unless you're on foot. Like from when you pull in, this is what you see.
Oh, yeah, so your car would be parked that way, and that'd be the first thing you do.
Picking up on that detail, so you have this tripartite rhythm.
Bearing in mind is that
Yeah, it's sort of,
closure as well in front.
Does it encompass the entire thing, or it's inside a little bit, or?
it sticks out a little bit.
Right. There's no like. closure or something?
Yeah.
More than that for trash in the condenser.
Yeah, it's probably.
God, how exciting.
Okay.
I know.
Been there. So samples on the wood, we'll redo the light posts. You decided, or generally the black enclosure for the condensers. And you were going to center some glass, a suggestion, Phil.
Film,
Yes.
yeah.
And we're also talking about changing the color of the base in the basement.
Yeah, substanding that to be closer to a natural stone and darken it to lighten up, well, not, let me be clear, to darken it to remove contrast.
Did we like the wood, the pressing wood?
I think that could be very interesting. Yeah, it's fitting with that modern application of materials.
That sounds good. So where do I drop off the samples for you guys to see?
Here's your map.
And I'm around tomorrow. I'm happy to bring them to whoever needs to see them.
Great, thank you. Yeah, we can come here.
So what would be the next step so that I know what happens?
The next step would be us taking a vote on conditional approval. You bringing down those samples that we requested and showing those changes. And then we would grant approval for the work to continue.
Do we just resubmit a revised package or?
Yes.
Yes, and that gets submitted to John, and then he'll distribute that to us. I'm happy to get feedback, any questions. If we have any help, please let me know.
So when the next meeting is in 2 weeks' time.
2 weeks' time.
So
Well, I think we've seen too, like, there was a concern with you making repairs and getting the roof stuff started. Are we happy with the roof sample that was provided today?
For this project, yeah.
Yeah. I think, a conditional approval will bring the other stuff. It's very clear that good thought and a lot
I
of
will
effort's
also
going
not
into
be
this.
here the next, when is the
Yeah.
next meeting? It's in the.
21st.
Yeah, I don't think there's any reason to
I
hold this
will be
up.
absent as well, so.
So it may actually be after Labor Day if we don't have a quorum, depending on.
So let's push it forward then, yeah, let's do a
Yeah,
conditional.
Yeah.
Is there
Let's-
any chance I can order windows? Because windows are 15, 16 week lead time.
Well, if we do the.
Oh, I think
We
we're gonna
have
vote
this-
now.
we're gonna vote now to
Having
get
these few
approval,
little,
yes.
little details,
So-
but maybe the bulk of it we can approve, so you can forge ahead.
Yeah.
Thank you. I want
Conditional on
windows.
those additional, right, pieces that you'd bring in.
So pending those things, the sample wood, the lamp posts, and post on your-
The base color.
And the base color, thank you.
And yeah, to remove the
So,
contrast.
Ending those three items, I'd like to have a motion for conditional approval and for work to commence on the project. Do I have a second?
On
On 117 Tower Hill Road, and I'm working from the plans from Kelly Designs dated 7/22/23.
And it's
sheet
A1.
Sheet A1, sheet A2, sheet A3, A4, A5, A6, A7, A8, A9, A10, A11.
and the roof sample being the Duration Onyx Black.
Duration
asphalt.
Onyx Black.
The roof on the chicken coop, same?
Same,
Match.
exactly same materials and everything.
And then the Marvin wood interior and
That's white
exterior
oak.
white oak.
So great.
Okay.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it.
Bingo.
Congratulations.
So much.
So you have to spread the news that the Board of Architecture Review is a
Not
very
over.
friendly, communicative, and you got to dispel this rumor that I don't know where it's come from, but
I was terrified coming here. I feel good now. I
Bird
feel
lover.
good.
Here.
well, it's an exciting project. You know, your home. It's your, it's such an exciting project, and we're so grateful that you're doing a big favor to the park of turning something that was ugly into something that's beautiful,
Truly.
and sustainable. We like that as well. That aspect is very good. So thank you.
There must be something with Tuxedo Park and chicken coops, because the house I live in now, I bought from somebody who moved here, and there's a chicken coop in the house that they sold.
Oh,
It's
wow.
our country roots.
Chickens are
It's the zeitgeist.
And then once you have your own eggs, you just can buy them and store it.
Big thank you to my fiance. He is dead set against the coops. I think they'd be lovely.
Thank you so much.
Thank
You
you.
have to have the right chicken.
You do.
I
I
know who to
went
ask.
to Swedish chickens. Yeah, they sound beautiful.
The chickens must match the house.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Good pleasure.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay.
Invoices.
Before that, it's
Yes, I had emailed the bar a handful of invoices, and I just want the bar for some of the applicant review. I received the second packet the other day, which I'll send out to you, just so the board is aware of what the expenses that the applicant incurs by coming here, because we do have an attorney present at the meetings. No disrespect.
Do you have a copy of that? I got the email. I was just out of the country and couldn't view it. I'd just like to take a quick peek.
These are the only ones I don't have copies of them for you now. I could.
That's fine, just so we have a general idea.
Yeah, I just want the board to be aware, because we will.
Okay, does anyone else want to-
Applicants for this money. The board should be aware of.
About when we call for that kind of support or.
Just be aware of how much is being charged and how much time is being spent.
Right.
And that's the issue.
So we'll, being more efficient with time, reduce the cost.
And I'm not saying it's been inefficient, but.
No, but I'd like to improve it if we're having anything that's going to hinder people from being able to do their project in a timely manner. So
I'd say you ran a good meeting, 2 hours, and we got how many applicants? 4, 5? That was a pretty good maiden voyage.
I'll take it. Thank you.
we do bill hourly, so the less time that is spent on each application, the less we bill.
Noted.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so I would like to make a motion to approve the special review invoices for John Smith on.
I'll input the date.
Okay, so the date inputted by John.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you. And then review of minutes.
Are there any minutes?
17th, July 17th, 2023 were the last minutes that were sent out. Everybody got their samples, right? Got the drafts?
I didn't, I wasn't part of the meeting, so I can't, yeah. so
It
I'm
was,
abstaining from this.
I'll
The
make-
three of us, yeah.
I can make a motion for it. I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes of July.
17th,
Aye.
Aye. Negative.
Okay.
Propose to close the meeting.
I propose to close this meeting.
Second.
Aye.
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 Okay, ayes have it.